Background. In the resulting work, Peter Newmark grouped two analyses in translating. The first is semantic translation, focused on preserving the original meaning of the source text while maintaining the nuance, structure, and style of the original author. Second, communicative translation, more emphasis on conveying the message so that it can be understood naturally by readers in the target language, even if some adjustments have to be made. Peter Newmark also introduced various strategies in the translation procedure, such as transposition, modulation, adaptation. Newmark emphasized the importance of context, text function, and audience consideration in the translation process. Newmark's theory reflects a pragmatic approach that combines faithfulness to the source text and the target language reading so that the translation is highly relevant in everyday translation practice. Contribution. In a textbook of translation, 1988, Peter Newmark distinguishes between semantic and communicative translations. Semantic translation prioritizes the precise meaning of the source text, making it ideal for expressive work like literature that preserve the author's style and tone. And communicative translation, on the other hand, aims to produce the same effect on the target audience as the original, suitable for texts like advertisements and manuals, where clarity is essential. Newmark also incorporates Bahler language function, expressive, informative, and vocative, into his framework, aligning translation method with communicative goals. Additionally, he introduced various translation products. For example, transference, modulation, and naturalization. To highlight the importance of cultural context, the audience expectation, and stylistic accuracy. Key ideas. Peter Newmark's A Textbook of Translation and his paper with Mildred Larson, Idiomatic Translation, emphasize his key contributions to translation theory. He distinguishes between semantic translation, which preserves the source text meaning and style, and communicative translation, which prioritizes the target audience response, especially in contexts like advertising. Newmark outlines 8 translation procedures, highlighting the importance of text type and cultural context in translation decision. While he and Larson view idiomatic translation as an ideal goal, Newmark cautions that it may distort meaning if introduced expression not present in the original language. The explanation of the analysis of song Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter. The verse lyric, we have this song catchier than chickenpox, and the translation in Indonesian is lagu ini lebih mudah nempel daripada cacar air. And the analysis is the lyric have a procedure such as cultural equivalent and modulation. Why? Because catchier than chickenpox is an idiomatic expression. The translator used cultural equivalent to preserve the metaphor and humor, and modulation to shift the structure into natural Indonesian. Literal translation would sound awkward here. And second lyric is woke up this morning, should I'd ride a puppet. The translation in Indonesia is bangun pagi ini kepikiran bikin lagu pop hits. And the analysis as procedure, literal translation with modulation. And the explanation why is literal modulation with modulation. The translation is mostly literal, but took outright becomes kepikiran bikin, which is modulation to keep the natural, casual tone Indonesia. The communicative translation is prioritized to keep the relatable modern role and tone. And the third lyric is I had to make it a little more PG. The translation in Indonesia is harus aku buat sedikit lebih ramah anak. The analysis of the lyric, the lyric have a Newmark procedure is descriptive equivalent. And why? Because PG refers to parental guidance, a film or content rating. Since there is no direct Indonesian term, the translator used descriptive equivalent to convey the meaning. This maintains clarity for the audience. And fourth, you got more spinning like a ballerina. The translation in Indonesia, kau buatku berputar seperti balerina. The procedure Newmark use is literal translation with modulation. And why? Because the sentence is quite straightforward, and the metaphor, the word spinning like a ballerina, is universally understood. So, a literal translation still preserves both the meaning and the imagery. The word spinning becomes muter, more informal and conversational. The fifth lyric on Nonsense by Sabrina Carpenter is you got me acting like I'm such a teen. And translation in Indonesia is kau membuatku bertingkah seperti remaja labil. The analysis use Peter Newmark. The procedure is modulation and cultural equivalent. And why they use procedure, modulation, and cultural equivalent? Because the literal meaning of acting like I'm such as a teen will be bertindak seperti remaja, but that might lack the nuance, such as the word flirty, playful, exaggeration. The translator modulates the phrase and adds words remaja labil because emotionally unstable teen as a cultural equivalent to capture the playful, dramatic tone common in teenager behavior. And the last point is conclusion. In Sabrina Carpenter's songs, especially Nonsense, plays with wordplay, idioms, and pop culture references. Using Peter Newmark's translation theory, we see a blend of communicative translation to match tone and style, cultural substitution to localize idioms, and modulation to adapt structure and emphasize. And this approach helps preserve both and fun and flavor of the original while making it resonate with Indonesian audience.